So anyone who is a Toastmaster who is here is already on this journey to become a distinguished Toastmaster. You probably just haven't thought about it. Um, and I know that when I started on the journey um, of joining Toastmasters and going through Toastmasters, I didn't realize until someone pointed out how far along the journey I actually was. The 1% club. Less than 1% people certainly climb Mount Everest. Um, but is it really like climbing Mount Everest or climbing a big mountain? I don't think it really is, because that suggests it's a climb to a peak. So I prefer to think of joining the 1% club and getting your DTM. It's more about a tapestry. And there are different threads to this tapestry and different colors. And so we're working on different parts of the tapestry at different times. And pulling a tapestry together, I don't know whether everyone's done it or if you've just seen them in museums or at somewhere else, but they take time. But you don't need to work on them all the time. You can work on it, then you can put it away, you can come back to it, you can work on parts of it, and suddenly parts of the tapestry start to become clear. Whereas you may have seen bits that weren't obvious as to what was going on. If you look at this tapestry here, this image, you can see the different threads. What's going to happen in the top part there? How that's going to finish? We don't really know yet, but we can see parts of what is going on, and that's parts that have started to develop. And that's similar in terms of an analogy to actually achieving the bits that make up getting to a DTM. So what are the 5 threads, as I've called them? So one of them is about personal development. The second one is around leadership experience. The third about district support. Then community support, and then there's the DTM project. And I'll go outline what's in each one of them. So in terms of personal development, that's about the member completing a path in pathways and then completing a second unique path. And we would all definitely be on that journey. Some of us may be just working on our first path. Some of us may have finished our second path. Some of us may have even finished our second path. Many of us might actually be working on our leadership experience, having been a club officer for a year, or be working on being a district officer. So that could be another thread that you've already got that you've started to weave into your tapestry. District support. So this is about helping the district support clubs. And these things interlink together. So the speaking and leadership skills that you might have learnt in personal development then help you in the leadership experience. The skills you learn and experience that you gain in being those officer roles then help you in being a club mentor and a club coach. And Ross is going to go into a lot more detail about what makes up being a club mentor or a club coach. The other threads are community support. So again, working in the community in some way to assist the district. So that could be about sponsoring a club, being the coordinator of a speechcraft, or being the coordinator of a youth leadership program. So again, you could be working on these things, or you may have already ticked these things off. So you could go away from this presentation and this workshop that we're having tonight going, oh, I'm 3/4 of the way to my DTM and I didn't even realize it. That's what happened to me. I think Sue Fallon said to me, it was a workshop when Sue Fallon, I think, was the district director, and it was about the pathway to a DTM. And I walked away going, oh, I just need to do that, and I just need to do that. Oh, and I need to do this. But I was literally 2/3 of the way there, and I hadn't even realised it. Or more fundamentally, I had not even thought about it. So the DTM project. So this is one fundamental part of the getting to your DTM, but it's not all of it. But it is one thing that pulls together all of the things that you have learned along your journey to getting to this point. And it ties a lot of those things together. So what is a DTM project? So it's a specific project in Pathways, and it's a project that's designed, created, and implemented by you, the member, and it demonstrates, as I said, the skills and expertise that you've gained on your journey so far. The project needs to benefit Toastmasters in some way. That could be the district, it could be your club, or it could be something more broader than that. You could be working on a DTM project that benefits the region or at Toastmasters international level in some way. So you can't get access to the DTM project straight away. You need to have completed one path and B, then in turn completed levels 1, 2, and 3 in a second unique path. So you can't be that you've done the same path twice. They have to be two unique paths. And when you've got to that point, you email Toastmasters International at Educational, and they will then add the DTM project to your Pathways lists of projects. And on the left there is the tile that you will see that appears. So you can see that I'm working on my DTM, at my second DTM. And again, I took stock the other day in preparation for this, and I realised I've ticked quite a lot of the boxes already. There are things I need to do, but I'm well and truly on the road to my second DTM. So what's involved in actually, completing this project? So you need to develop a team of people that are going to work with you on this project. You need to design a plan for the project. So how are you going to deliver this project? You need to deliver a speech at a club meeting to share the plan. You then need to organise and complete the project. So you then need to do a 360-degree evaluation of your leadership skills. So that would be the members of your team. It could be someone in the club, or it could be someone else. So yeah, and like we love to get feedback, and this is an important learning experience. So you might spread that 360-degree evaluation as broadly as you can to get as much feedback as possible. So you then, at the end of that, you deliver a speech at a club meeting where you review your project, what the outcomes were, what the benefits were for Toastmasters, and what lessons you have personally learnt from going through the experience that you could go to. Now, I think this is one of the fundamental questions. What could be a DTM project? Because if you decided that you're going to take this thing on, and what's it going to be? It might be that you have something that's been suggested to you. Marie and I had a conversation in the lead up to this, and I know that Marie has some ideas about things that she needs to work on. So it's not that you necessarily need to come up with this whole thing, whole idea of what a project is. The district will have things that needs to be worked on. It could also be the club that needs to some assistance specifically about, let's say, you need to change your venue, or you're seriously struggling for membership. That could be a project that significantly benefits Toastmasters at the club level. The DTM project that I did for my DTM, Marie would be intimately aware of, because it was helping St George's organise the 2019 district conference. One of the other things I added into that was to develop, I guess you might call a manual or a framework to be used for people organising future district conferences. So it wasn't quite a how to do, but it was more a framework around all the things that you needed to consider in developing and implementing a conference. So if you're involved in organising the next district conference, you could turn that into a DTM project. You could reach out to Marie, who I'm sure has some other ideas. And if she doesn't have an idea that resonates with you, I'm sure she and the trio could point you in different directions. Marie, would you like to share what your DTM project was?
My DTM project was related to Speechcraft. I'd been running Speechcraft as the Speechcraft coordinator for 9 years, and it needed to be documented and packaged in such a way that I could then hand it over to a new Speechcraft manager who continues to this very day. And it was very comprehensive, the people I involved, the effort that went in, but it was very rewarding, and I still look proudly back on that work because it set a really solid foundation for the successful handover to Juliana Kelly, who now carries the mantle.
And I'm sure that our other DTMs here have some good stories and examples. So you could also reach out to them about things that they did that could in turn give you ideas that you might use to develop a project of your own if and when you decide that you're going to do your DTM project. So hopefully the idea of the tapestry and the threads gives you the understanding that you are already working on this journey towards the 1% club. Whether or not you want to take the leap and complete those other things, I'm sure you are interested in. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here to learn more about it. So I would recommend that the first thing that you do is you take stock of the things that you have ticked off and then think about how you're going to plan to get the other things done. I think I'm probably close to out of time. Apparently, I've got 2 minutes left. So we can quickly take some questions if anyone's got any questions.
Gavin, I've got a suggestion.
Ross?
Yes, Gavin, I've got a suggestion that I've made a note during your presentation. What we should do is, seeing we're recording this meeting, we know everyone that's attending, we should send them out the application form for the DTM so they could be starting to fill it out now, like the club officer roles, the different paths they're completing, so that they can see what they need to complete going forward.
That's a good idea. Effectively, they use it as a checklist.
Yes.
Ian?
Gavin, I might be
that is.
I might be jumping in just a little bit too early on the timer because I have some questions allocated me some time from Kevin. So I wonder if I may pose one of those to you. And I want to know, you've spoken very extensively on the DTM project, but what's the difference between a DTM project and a Pathways project?
Well, I mean, effectively, a Pathways project is a project within Pathways. So the DTM project is a specific project within Pathways. We do then have Pathways that are divided up into projects that they have. Some of those are leadership projects. So, for example, there's the high performance leadership project that you could be doing in a path. I think the analogy would be potentially that the HBL projects might be smaller and they don't necessarily have that same requirement around it needs to be a project that benefits Toastmasters. I hope that answers your question, or you've got another one?
And it's quite clear. But follow on from that is, do these projects have to be completed in and under the guidance of Toastmasters?
Effectively, a DTM project, you need to have a team that effectively is helping guide you, work with you, and provide you, I guess, direction. In the past, we had a DTM. You would set up a committee to, that you would work with. They would also provide you direction as well. So that's working with the team. So I guess that's you're working with a team of Toastmasters. I think if you, depending on the project that you were working on, you might also need to tap into some external experts. Let's say that it was a DTM project to enhance the district's website, you couldn't tap into an expert within the district for that. You might then need to reach out to an external person.